For 200 years, no one dared touch the blindfold. It wasn't just fear. It was survival. Villagers whispered that behind the veil lay eyes not meant for mortals to see. Generations passed, yet the cloth never aged, never loosened, until one restless historian walked into the forbidden temple and reached for it. The moment the fabric slipped free, the world itself seemed to shudder. What could possibly be so terrible or so divine that even gods wanted it hidden? If this story already has your heart racing, stick around. It only gets stranger. And hey, if you enjoy these deep-dive sci-fi legends where humanity dares to look where no one else will, give this video a like, hit subscribe, and share it with a friend who loves a good mystery. Trust me, you won't want to miss where this tale goes next. The village of Adteran had learned one thing across 2 centuries: silence. They lived beneath the shadow of an ancient mountain where ruins lay like broken teeth, swallowed by mist. At its heart stood a temple, older than memory, older than the stories themselves. The villagers called it the Temple of the Veiled One. They would not go near it, not even to gather wood from its crumbling gates. Children grew up with warnings whispered at their bedsides: never touch her blindfold, never look at her eyes. Because to do so, they said, was to see what mortals were never meant to know. Elias had heard those warnings too, not from his own family, but from the mouths of frightened guides he hired on his journey. A historian from the far cities, Elias was a man built of questions. Myths were never enough for him. He wanted proof, or at least the thrill of uncovering what lay behind them. So when he heard of a woman veiled for 200 years, untouched by time, his curiosity burned hotter than fear. His guides stopped at the gates. Elias pressed on, alone. The temple waited. The moment Elias stepped inside, the air shifted. It wasn't just silence, it was pressure, as though the entire world had paused to watch him. The chamber breathed with stillness, moonlight spilling through the fractured roof and dust floating like silver ash. And there, at the center, she sat, the Veiled One. Her figure seemed caught between sculpture and flesh. Skin pale as marble, hair like molten silver drifting in the airless dark. And that blindfold, white, immaculate, as though woven yesterday, though it had endured 200 years untouched. Elias's rational mind fought to make sense of it. A trick? Some lost preservation ritual? But his gut told him otherwise. This was no ordinary relic. He circled slowly, sketching with frantic strokes in his notebook. But then he froze. A faint shimmer pulsed beneath the blindfold, as though light itself was trapped behind the cloth, begging to escape. He lifted his lantern closer, and to his horror, or was it wonder? The glow bent toward her, pulled as though her face were a magnet for fire. Then came the sound, a heartbeat, soft at first, then again, louder, deeper, shaking the very air. The statue was not stone. Elias stood frozen, lantern trembling in his hand. The rational thing would have been to run, to leave the blindfold untouched and flee back into the night. But curiosity had always been his truest master, and now it whispered, "Look." He reached out. His gloved fingers brushed the cloth. To his shock, it was warm, warm like living flesh. He recoiled, heart racing, but the pull was unbearable. With a single motion, he tugged. The blindfold slid free. The temple exhaled. Thunder cracked without sound. Dust spiraled upward. Moonlight warped into a color Elias had no name for, something between silver and blood. And then her eyes opened. He staggered back, expecting emptiness, or perhaps stone. Instead, he saw infinity. Galaxies whirling in endless collapse and rebirth. Suns igniting and dying in the span of a heartbeat. A storm of creation itself, alive, endless, incomprehensible. His mind screamed. He tried to look away. couldn't. Then a voice, not spoken, but resonating through bone and breath. You shouldn't have done that. It came from nowhere, from everywhere. And then, with terrible certainty, Elias realized the voice was hers. Her lips moved. The words were soft, but they cracked through Elias like ice. You freed me. The veiled one rose slowly, her obsidian throne groaning, splitting into jagged shards of stone and light. Her bare feet touched the floor, and where they landed, rock turned to shimmering glow. She was no statue. She was something far greater, something bound. I was a queen of sight, she whispered, her voice both tender and terrible. But my gaze devoured heaven and hell alike. The gods feared me, so they bound me here. Elias staggered backward, clutching his lantern. I didn't know. I'm just a scholar. Her eyes locked on him, and in that instant, his world tore open. He saw the first dawn when the universe still bled light. He saw empires rise, civilizations turn to ash, souls reborn again and again in the endless cycle. He saw his own death, and lives he would never live. Elias screamed, hands clawing at his head as if to keep it from splitting apart. She caught him before he fell, her touch cold but not cruel. To see all, she murmured, is to unmake yourself. Why me? Why show me this? Her eyes softened, galaxies burning in their depths. Because you chose. You removed the veil. Truth is never kind, but it clings to those who seek it. He looked into the shattered glass of his lantern and froze. His own eyes glowed faintly, stars spinning inside them. Horror crashed over him. No, no, take it back. I cannot, she whispered. You are marked now. My sight burns in you. When you can bear it no longer, you will seek this mountain again, and another will follow. The cycle always returns. Her form began to dissolve, unraveling into strands of light. Wait, Elias cried. Where are you going? Back to the stars, back to where no mortal gaze can follow. She stepped into the moonlight, fading piece by piece, hair, hands, then only echo. Close your eyes, Elias. Before the world breaks, he tried. But even with eyelids shut, he saw everything. The trembling atoms of stone, the flickering lives of insects in the grass, the fragile blaze of humanity against eternity's wind. And then, darkness. When dawn came, the temple was gone. Only flowers remained. And the blindfold, white and clean, lay in his hand. Would you like me to also craft a cinematic outro for the audience, tying this HFY tale into a reflection and gentle? Elias gasped, his voice raw. Why me? Why show me this? Her eyes softened, galaxies burning in their depths. Because you chose. You removed the veil. Truth is never kind, but it clings to those who seek it. He looked into the shattered glass of his lantern and froze. His own eyes glowed faintly, stars spinning inside them. Horror crashed over him. No, no, take it back. I cannot, she whispered. You are marked now. My sight burns in you. When you can bear it no longer, you will seek this mountain again, and another will follow. The cycle always returns. Her form began to dissolve, unraveling into strands of light. Wait, Elias cried. Where are you going? Back to the stars, back to where no mortal gaze can follow. She stepped into the moonlight, fading piece by piece, and hair, hands, then only echo. Close your eyes, Elias. Before the world breaks. He tried. But even with eyelids shut, he saw everything. The trembling atoms of stone, the flickering lives of insects in the grass, the fragile blaze of humanity against eternity's wind, and then darkness. When dawn came, the temple was gone. Only flowers remained, and the blindfold, white and clean, lay in his hand.